Being Black in America comes with its challenges. However, we understand that enlightenment through education is the oppressor's worst fear. By bridging the gap between academia and the people, our purpose is to equip you with knowledge that breaks down barriers during your journey towards truth and freedom. Welcome to the Black and Highly Dangerous Podcast.
Yo, Daph, what's going on? What's going on? How you living?
Living good. Enjoying this summertime weather out here.
Yeah, it finally has warmed up, so that's good.
Oh, that's kind of an understatement because I'm still in the South right now. It's hot. It ain't warm. It's hot.
Well, it's 70, 73 where I'm at right now, so it's a good temperature. I like the 70s, maybe low 80s.
Yeah.
It's always a good temp.
You know, I think right there, like 78 to 80 is perfect. But no, it's been like upper 80s, 90s already.
Okay, that's beach weather.
Yeah, I went swimming this weekend, actually.
That's what I'm about to say. That's the weather. You got to take a dip.
and I'm going again this upcoming weekend. I'm going to a water park.
That's good. Mm-hmm. You always knew how to swim?
Okay.
How'd you learn how to swim?
Okay, so you asking that story, but do you not remember what happened that first summer I came to Purdue?
Was that?
So that 2 summers in a row, somebody almost drowned, and I was one of them.
No. Okay, I remember that. You was there for that. Okay.
So I wasn't there for the first one, but the next summer we went to, I don't even know where it was, but it was like a large pool. I'm like kind of like on the edge holding myself up, and I let go for a little minute. You're like, oh Lord, we about to have another. I can't remember who it was because I didn't know the person, but y'all like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, I remember who that was.
So I mean, since then I have learned how to float, and I do know how to move, but like I can only swim if I'm completely underwater. I don't know how to do like the professional, like turning my head and stuff like that. I'm actually take swim lessons this summer.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I was just asking. I mean, I know.
Was throwing shade because I'm like, does he not remember that I?
Oh no, I didn't remember that. I don't remember you, but I remember the other person that we were comparing you to. I'll never forget that.
Because y'all was like, oh Lord, it's about to happen again. I don't think my situation was as dramatic, but y'all was just like, oh.
Because you probably were like tiptoeing your way in.
Yeah.
For our listeners, it was a story of. It was during the summer, we were in grad school hanging out. We went to like this little water park, and water parks all have different kind of like little rides and slides and things. But this one, it was like you kind of like swing, and then you swing and you kind of let go in like this little. It's like deep. It was like 8 feet or something like that, and then you just like swim to the edge. It was pretty small. And anyway, so there's one girl. She did it, but she didn't know how to swim.
Oh, God.
Which we don't understand why she did it if she didn't know how to swim. And so she jumped in the water, and then, we just looking at her. And next thing you know, she just kept going up and down, up and down, up and down. But then what was funny about it is that because it was such a small little pool, it wasn't nothing huge. And so, but the lifeguard made this huge scene. He blew his whistle. Everybody looked. He jumped in with his little floaty thing and then grabbed her for like 2 feet just to the edge. It was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Some of us stayed, but some of us like walked away, acting like they didn't want to know. They didn't know her because they didn't want to be embarrassed too.
See, y'all ain't right. Y'all supposed to be a friend.
I stayed, but I was laughing the whole time. I couldn't stop. Oh my God, she was laughing too, so it was all good. But yeah. That was funny.
Yeah. Well, it didn't quite happen for me like that, but y'all, it was one of those scenes where it could have went bad. So, yeah. But yeah, I know how to float. I can move underwater, but I am going to be a professional swimmer by the end of the summer.
That's good. Yeah, I know how to swim, but I don't know how to swim. I can recreationally, I can float. I can tread water, swim underwater a little, but I can't, all the strokes, all the professional strokes everybody be doing and the breathing techniques. Mm-hmm. Nah, I can't. I tried it one time actually at Purdue. I was in like some boot camp class, and we had to do a swimming day. We were doing like laps in the water, and that was so hard. And I was like, I don't know how people do this. And it was funny because it was like a lot of like elderly folk in the lanes next to us just going ham.
Yeah.
And we was all struggling.
All folks be swimming.
They do.
Actually, after this recording, I'm going to do some water aerobics.
Okay.
Yeah, I see. I'm getting my life together this summer.
Yeah, get that swim game on and defeat the stereotypes of black folks not swimming. That's funny though. But yeah. I'm just getting back. Literally, I'm just getting back from Chicago. I was out there for the weekend, so just really walked to my house 20 minutes ago. So that was fun though, hanging out in Chicago. I haven't been out there in a while since I kind of like left, the Purdue area, left grad school. So it was good hanging out on the Gold Coast. For some reason, I was just on a taco binge, and I was just trying like all these different taco spots.
That is so funny.
Tacos,
man. Tacos are so good though.
I love tacos.
Taco Tuesday. It's funny. Did you see that little video that LeBron James had?
Oh, yeah.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. His little daughter. Taco Tuesday.
She sounds so cute. Yeah. Everybody loves tacos, man.
Yeah.
You got to love the people behind the tacos, too.
Yes, that is true. We're not going to be appropriating nobody's culture. Give credit where it's due. Love tacos. But, I'm just chilling, getting ready for next week where I start my grind. My grind week starts next week. Back to work, back to the gym, all that stuff. Well, I've been going to the gym, but I'm gonna go more consistently starting next week.
That's good. Next week when we record, I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm like, what you accomplished this week, guys? It's already about to be mid-June. Like at the end of next week, it's gonna be almost mid-June.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
these summers, man, I need to just slow down a little bit, please. Jeez. But yeah, all right. So we got some. I'm sure, like we said, we told all you guys before. Most of these episodes during the summer is going to be me and Daph chatting it up, covering some of the hot stories of the week and some bigger topics that we want to talk about. But I guess we can start with some kind of old Lord news topics, if we got any, and then go into anything else we want to talk about.
Hello, and welcome to BHD News, where we give you the most current and eye-opening old Lord news of the week. Join us as we present news that'll make you want to say,
so I feel like the theme of like any old Lord news we have and the rest of the episode is it's kind of a crime episode almost.
I think so.
So like for instance, my first story is just last week in Clayton County, Georgia, there was like a George Zimmerman 2.0 situation. So a 21-year-old woman witnessed a 62-year-old man, African-American man, hit or swipe a big rig, like one of the 18-wheeler type trucks.
Yeah.
So I guess the, truck, he wasn't in there, but he drove off. And so, she calls the police, they're telling her, ma'am, stay at the scene. But I guess they also asked for his license plate number. So she decided to chase him down.
Oh, my goodness.
I think they get to some type of stop sign. She blocks his car in, gets out of the car, pulls a gun on him, and demands that he get out of the car. Wow. Get out of the car. And, witnesses, they see everything that's going on. What's not clear is, I don't know, I don't even think there was like a struggle, but like something happened. But the next thing you know, she shoots the man in the stomach. He dies.
Whoa. That's crazy.
And what's so crazy is that witnesses said that immediately after she shot him, she ran back to her car and took off a bad girl vest and put on a pink sweater before police came.
Oh my goodness. Trying to change up her image.
Yeah, trying to change her. Oh, you was a bad girl when you were shooting folk, but now you want to like pretend to be a victim. And her attorney was like, oh, it was a citizen's arrest gone wrong. You're not a police officer.
Definitely not a police. People is what state was this?
Georgia. So Clayton County is just outside of Atlanta. People that live in Clayton County probably say I live in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy. And see, people out here wild and trying to take the law into their own hands. It's not that serious. Call the law and let them handle it. So, is there any word on like she gonna get convicted or or anything like that? Or
Yes, so there was
charged?
a preliminary hearing earlier last week that determined there was probable cause to proceed with prosecution, and she's currently awaiting a murder trial, and she was released on bond.
Okay. Okay.
And what's interesting is, and I've been waiting to hear an update on this, but they actually said the man may have been in some type of like diabetic, like crisis, which I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. Like you might see like older people, it looked like they're driving erratic. They might hit somebody and they're like, move on.
Yeah.
But there's sometimes they're in diabetic shock or like related to like their sugar levels.
Mm.
And there was at least one witness or someone who said that the victim may have been in diabetic shock when he did the hit and run.
Mm. Yeah, see, it's not that serious. I mean, even a car accident is not that serious for you to shoot somebody. But so, yeah, it's going. I mean, again, the interesting thing about people like this case and the Zimmerman case is that they're not law enforcement, so there's no way they should get off for just taking somebody's life like this, which we did see in the Zimmerman case. So hopefully we don't see that same result in this case.
Yeah. But what's interesting is another thing. So I just read the guy didn't like hit and immediately leave. He stayed on the scene for 20 minutes and left after 20 minutes because of a medical emergency.
So he might have had a diabetic shock or something like that. And then was trying to wait it out, but then maybe it started getting worse or his condition started to get worse. So he tried to get, to a hospital or somewhere for himself. So I'm sure the truth will be revealed soon. Yeah,
that's so unfortunate. Like it ain't even like he hit and hurt nobody. It's a damn semi truck. They okay? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, them trucks. Probably just had a little scratch. That's about it, man. Them joints.
Yeah.
Or tanks.
Yeah. So unfortunate, and we hope that is not the same outcome as the George Zimmerman case. And I'm so happy somebody witnessed her trying to like pretend to be innocent in a pink sweater.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy that she actually tried to change up. Well, she felt guilty or did something wrong.
Okay, so I have another story where the owner of a kind of medical lab is called AJ Lab Collections, and they would collect like urine and like blood samples primarily for the Department of Human Services when they needed to like do drug tests or paternity tests around custody cases. Well, come to find out, this lady was freaking falsifying people's drug tests and paternity. And it was found out, she got found out because someone got a drug screening back and it turned up positive. I guess this person knew that they did not do drugs, so they called the physician whose name was on the paperwork that said that they had a positive drug test. Well, the doctor was like, I don't recall signing this, and I don't recall doing any drug tests for this particular lab. And that's when they did an investigation, and they said that now they have to sift through dozens of tests that Murray has completed, over the months and over the years, because those may have been altered, and it's people potentially losing jobs, losing custody, etc.
That is wild, yo. Why do people do things like that? And so with the paternity testimonies, there's some people who were trying to see if they were the father of a child or not.
It doesn't get deep into that, but it says that she did paternity and drug tests. So,
you messing up people's like livelihood and I mean even just like families playing with stuff like that. Drug test is one thing, but definitely the paternity test is crazy.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that in 2013, Murray, the woman who ran the crime lab, was actually arrested and pled guilty to 5 counts of credit card fraud.
Oh my goodness.
So, she was already, a fraudster anyway. She was sentenced to 3 years probation. That's all she got. And within the last couple of years has opened up this lab and got a contract with the freaking government.
That's the thing. It's like, is she white?
Yeah.
I'm about to sound like
plead guilty to credit card fraud and then get a contract.
And then still get a contract. Sound like. Because I'm like, what is she? That makes sense. Like, I'm like, what are you gaining out of like doing this? Having wrong tests, like credit card fraud. Okay, you're getting some financial incentive, but giving people the wrong test back, it just don't seem like how you making money off that. But if it's your establishment, then, that's wild.
I wonder if she was just like randomly saying positive, not because like I guess if you're a crime lab or a blood lab, urine lab, and everything comes back one way, it might look suspicious. So maybe she wasn't even running the test and would just like randomly say, "This is positive. This is positive." You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. That's wild. Well, hopefully she ain't mess up too many people's tests.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any news before I go on to some heavier stuff?
Okay, I got a couple of news stories. This one is just I find it funny. As I'm gonna tell you about. So I'm sure we used to do Teach for America, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever take kids on field trips?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Were there times where the kids were doing things at the field? Were there any overnight field trips or no?
I never had any overnight field trips.
Okay.
I taught elementary school.
Okay. So this principal of a Louisiana Catholic school, essentially took a class to a field trip. It was I can't remember where it was at exactly, where they were going. It doesn't say. But apparently while the kids were at a field trip, that night he got arrested. Oh, Lord. What do you think he got arrested for?
I mean, if it's at night, probably prostitution.
Okay. He got arrested while being at the strip club.
Oh, my God.
They said officers responded to an Archibald Gentlemen's Club around 2:20 a.m. On Friday because there was an intoxicated man refusing to pay his bill. When law enforcement arrived on the scene, they found the Holy Family principal, Michael Cummew, standing in the roadway, refusing to move. They eventually arrested. They told him to get out the street multiple times. He refused, and they eventually arrested him at the strip club and bar, which was actually about a mile away. They probably visited the White House because it was a mile away from the White House.
Catholic school principal.
Caught at the strip club, being drunk and acting wild. And so he recently stepped down naturally as a result of this. So he's no longer a principal of this school.
He couldn't wait. He could not wait.
Yeah, DC wilding, man. Like at the strip club and then acting crazy. So that was just a funny story to me. I don't know why. Thought I'd share it with you all.
Well, I'm happy he stepped down. Well, he might not have been a father, but principal of a Catholic school. We don't need you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
influencing our kids.
The kids probably gonna have mad jokes, Yeah, family, everybody else, colleagues. I mean, that's funny. I don't know what's gonna happen to him and his reputation, what kind of job he gonna have after this, but he should have been wiser, buddy. Been wise. Not while you're on the clock, at least.
Because now that Google is forever, unless he's rich and can get his name just completely wiped clean from off of Google. Baby, we're gonna be seeing that.
You're forever gonna be the strip club principal. Oh my God. Another story recently that just came out was, Jay-Z has become the first, kind of hip hop billionaire.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is pretty dope. He has a lot of investments. Some of his biggest ones being with, I think it's the champagne bottle with $310 million. I think it was Ace of Spades.
Okay, yeah.
220 million in cash investments. I'm just reading and looking at this Forbes report. So he does a lot of investment. DuVernay now, which has just got to 100 million. Tidal, which is up to 100 million. Rock Nation, 75 million. His music catalog brings in 75 million. He's an art collection, which is 70 million. And then like real estate, 50 million. So he's just been racking up. So congratulations to the Carters. You know, billionaires. I mean, I know there was already billionaires collectively.
Yeah.
And now I think Jay-Z has achieved that as an individual.
Yeah.
And I know Beyonce's pretty close now too because of that Uber investment, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That was so smart.
Yes.
Like, no, I'm not gonna perform for like $2 million. How about you give me them stock options?
Yeah,
whatever.
the stock options. And that joint went public, and that I think it was worth maybe $5 million. And now it has gotten to about $300 million, her stock options, because she usually charged, I think, that $5 million fee, but instead she said, you know what, give me that as an investment into your company. Then when it went public, now that $5 million turned to $300 million. And I mean, I've seen, there was like numbers of people. I mean, there was somebody who put in like early investment of 5,000, that turned to like 20 million or 22 million or something like that once it went public. So a lot of people making a lot of bank off that Uber going public, and Beyonce is one of them. And I know she was already worth around 300 million before that. So she dang near doubled her net worth with that investment.
The same thing happened with Facebook a long time ago. Like there was some artist who had like painted a picture that maybe was worth like $1,000 or a couple $1,000s, ended up a millionaire when the company went public. So, you know, if you know somebody with a really good idea and it wouldn't cost very much to like do something in kind or, you know, something small, you might be a millionaire. I wonder.
Yeah. I was like, I gotta keep my eyes on stuff like that. You know, if I could put 5,000 into something and it turned to millions, you know, what's cool? Like, I got to start making some investor friends or something to just, you know, give me the heads up when things start to look like they're going to take off. Or some pretty good ideas.
What J&B say was better than one billionaire? Two. We trying to get millionaires, so you know.
Yeah, we
just
get to the millions first. Yep, and then you know, who knows? We could be billionaires. We'll see first. We'll be the first. I don't know. We'll be the first academic billionaires. I'm pretty sure there's other folks out there, but it would be nice to have that title.
Yeah.
The dreams. But another story that kind of related too, because as always, when we take steps forward, there's always ways that, you know, somebody, especially when we talk about the criminal justice system, trying to take us backwards. And recently, the New York Police Department has launched an operations group that will specifically monitor hip hop concerts. You know, informally, everyone's calling this new, I guess, police unit, the rap unit, but they're officially known as the Enterprise Operations Unit, the EOU, but they work on the ground through the department's EOU operations, and pretty much what they would be doing is creating a list of weekly upcoming rap shows, and they'll base the rap shows on low, medium, and high risk for violence and drug-related incidences, and then they will have a lot of undercover police officers there to gather intelligence specifically on hip hop artists.
Wow.
This recently happened. One of their first gigs was actually at Remy Ma's show last year at March 2018. When, you know, there was a lot of people there, like of course, like Remy Ma, but then like 50 Cent, 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and all these other folks where they were like looking and trying to make arrests and gathering information. Some think this is where they began to gather information on somebody like 6ix9ine as well during that time period. So all that to say is that the NYPD has this. So, you know, for all of you, especially if you guys are going to festivals or music concerts in the city, be careful because there will be undercover police there trying to gather information, figure out what's going on, lock people up. Although they're saying they're specifically looking for the artist, which is already, you know, not good in itself. I'm sure they'll take up whoever. So.
Yeah. And it's what I don't like about it is that is such a like targeted demographic. So we've been talking about, you know, mass incarceration. We've been talking about like, you know, the small little local policies that like have large impacts. You know, this is like them stop and frisk, but it's intensified because you're going into settings that will be primarily Black and Latino. You targeting people who just trying to have fun and chill. Not saying that there is never like, any violence or drugs. But it's just kind of like you're specifically targeting this demographic to boost your statistics.
Yes, and they're trying to say, oh, all artists, but and most of the reports and what they've done has been in rap concerts, and all festivals, all concerts is going to be drugs, is going to be violence because people are on drugs, especially at these predominantly white kind of music festivals or white music. College students, whoever is going there, they're on all types of drugs and doing things. It's just like the nature and culture of some of these shows. So why are you only targeting, concerts that predominantly feature Black artists? Well, we know why. Yeah. So I don't know how long this is going to fly. Now that it's, out in the open, I'm sure people are going to push back because I think there's just some kind of form of like targeting, bias, discrimination. You just can't do it just for rap concerts,
Yeah. Especially when we know when it comes to drugs, we've done plenty of episodes like this. People across race, we use drugs equally. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when we aren't targeted equally by police officers and law enforcement, then certain groups get in trouble more and certain groups get away with it.
And then the rap concerts are going to have the reputations of being drug concerts and violent concerts. Like, come on, like, you got to do better. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But it is at least good that it's being exposed now and people know, because they started this last year, but now it's just coming to light. So who knows what they've been doing for the past year. So I'm sure people will fight back. We'll keep our eyes on that for sure.
Sure. But speaking of drugs, Illinois just passed a bill that will allow recreational marijuana use starting in January.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie. I was just in Chicago, and we passed a couple spots that had CBD and chocolate and candy and sweets, and I did think about it. But I got some things under the works right now that I was like, I can't jeopardize it quite yet. But once these things pass, I might try some sweets. I just want to try them, man.
Everywhere I move, the laws change. So in Massachusetts, we ended up getting recreational use.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Maybe the university tell me something.
It's the Daphne effect, huh?
It's the Daphne effect. I guess Tennessee gonna be next, although we know that we don't have it down here.
It's gonna be a while for Tennessee, but you never know. But yeah, it was a lot of people on the streets when we was out there, and you could smell the marijuana all over the place. I walked on the elevator one time, and it was like clearly somebody had lit up on the elevator. It was like, man, goodness gracious, but I guess everybody's celebrating.
Yeah. But you know what? That's where the next million and billionaires are going to be made.
Yeah, that's true.
I think with this law, they are allowing the medical dispensaries apply for recreational licenses, but it's just kind of like, I'm trying to see who trying to start up the next business, and let me get my little $5,000.
I know, right? Let's get that. Let's get that investment. Shoot, that's all I need. Flip that, turn that to a few million. Yeah. And the one thing about the Illinois passing is that it is I think they said the most progressive one yet, because I think they do a good job at retroactively addressing people who have been incarcerated, and I think exonerating people, and I think also giving them an option to buy into some of this, or making it just as easy as the average person.
Yeah.
So that's good too.
I won't lie, I think that's where the money is going to be made in the future.
Oh yeah. Just like alcohol or tobacco, and hopefully they didn't make it so nobody can monopolize it, but it's going to be interesting. I feel like when companies like Amazon start getting into it, it's going to be pretty interesting. People just getting their deliveries overnight or 2 days. Amazon dropping it off.
Amazon 2 days. That's
they're going to tap it because they tap into food and everything with Whole Foods and all these other businesses. They found a way to incorporate today their structure. So I wouldn't be surprised if they can find a major distributor once it becomes federalized or on a larger scale. Amazon will I'm pretty sure will be delivering marijuana to folks.
Yeah. Speaking of what Amazon is selling, I just found out you can go on Amazon and buy a $20,000 house with free shipping.
Is it one of those little houses?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're like little houses, but like some of them look really nice. Like one of them is like like pretty much like all windows. It's beautiful. And they were like, you can use some of them as like a, retail space. Like if you wanted like a little backyard office space or a pool house or something like that. It's not bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Some of them look really good.
So, Amazon out here delivering houses now. This is wild.
Whole house.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at that. I see the one you're talking about. Yeah.
That little glass one.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
I want that in the backyard. That'll be my office at home.
Yeah, I guess too. I don't know who. Oh yeah, I don't know who would buy a house, but I guess maybe if you have like a lot of property too, and you want like a little guest house for somebody, it's like, Amazon, come drop this off, put it in my backyard.
I actually know somebody who built a small house and it was insulated. It had like plumbing and all that stuff. They built a tiny house like in their backyard and they Airbnb it.
Oh, that's smart too. That's smart too.
Yeah.
So people can stay. Yeah, sure it's like a little hotel room, so it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool too. Okay. All right. So yeah, Amazon doing it all. You see Bezos' wife talking about she's pledging to donate like half of that. I don't know, was it 32, 36 million?
I think it was 35 because I think she would give 17 away. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's also with that one guy, Robert Smith, the guy who gave the stuff to Morehouse. It's like that pledge people do, sign up for, billionaires.
Yeah.
Where they give half of their wealth away. So
the fact that you can give half your wealth away and not even feel it, like it would not have any type of like material impact on her life to give away $17 billion. That's crazy.
It wouldn't. I just read something. It was like, I think it was like with Bill Gates, if he spent like $200 million a day, it would take him like 218 years or something like that to spend all his money. Like, what? You're like, that's wild. That's so wild, man.
Yeah. It is. I mean, do you think, I don't know how I feel about like people, like I do feel like people should be able to amass wealth and all of that stuff like that. But it's just like, that is so much more you could do in 3 or 4 lifetimes, 200 years.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's crazy. If I was that rich, I would have to. But you know what? Bill Gates is very generous. They have to build a Melinda Gates Foundation to get millennial scholars. But the fact that they have all that stuff and they can still like, like y'all can
get millions of dollars away every day. But you can think about even just change. You can, I don't know what they do, but you can literally change a community with that much money. Yeah. Several communities, like some kind of jobs, even just giving people more, I don't know, fixing up schools. And like you said, they do a lot. But I can only imagine if some of these billionaires got together and just made like a super targeted effort in some of the most disadvantaged communities. I think they can change that all the way around.
Yeah. I think I low key, based on some intel I have, because I'm in the know, I think that Bill Gates doing some stuff on the low. We'll see.
Okay. I'll see. We'll see what's up with Bill Gates. All right.
Okay, so a heavy story before we get into a heavy topic in general. Yeah. But I'm sure you heard about the Virginia Beach mass shooting.
Definitely.
Crazy. So a veteran city engineer targeted people that he worked with for years. I think he shot up like 2 or 3 floors. 12 people were gunned down. And I believe they all passed. And also the gunman was killed by police.
Wow. That's, that's, this country is wild because it keeps happening. It's like, maybe, I don't know if you can even really go a whole month, maybe 2 months without having a mass shooting story. And
it's just wild. We need to do something to change it. I know we keep saying that, but
And it's crazy because reading details about his name is Dwayne Craddock, is that he sent in his resignation to his boss, I think earlier that day or the day before. His boss was like, why are you doing this? Like, apparently, at least from what his boss knew, there, wasn't any issues. He said he's resigning for personal reasons. And then this happened. The afternoon after he sent in his resignation.
Yeah, see, it don't make no sense, man. But access to weapons and guns is a part of it. And I don't know. I guess we'll find. I don't even know if they can find a motive. If he didn't have any kind of agenda.
Yeah,
I wasn't doing that.
I mean, they'll probably search his computer, search it. Like, they might be able to find some stuff there. But it's kind of sad. So, the victims or the perpetrators, the shooter's family, I guess news people are coming there, but they put out a message that said, the family of Dwayne Craddock wishes to send our heartfelt condolences to the victims. We are grieving the loss of our loved one. At this time, we wish to focus on the victims and the lives lost during yesterday's tragic event. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families and those who lost their lives and those recovering in the hospital. The Craddocks. Which that is such a heavy place to be in, to be the family of the person who did such a horrific thing.
Yeah.
But I do like the way, they did that. We want to focus on the victims.
Yeah.
Our thoughts are with them. That's very classy, even though they're hurt too. So
yeah, no, that's a very stand up act, but still sad. People just going to work one day and just lost their lives. You know what I'm saying? Just things like that. Just they say you just never know.
Yeah.
So it's a crazy world we living in. But those, just continuously always just don't take your loved ones for granted. Say I love you. Let them know. Go out, make that phone call, because you just never know nowadays.
Yeah. And you know what? After I read about this story, I actually read something that said that Fridays are the potentially most I guess I don't know, I don't want to call it the deadliest time, but it's just kind of like, if it's happening at work, a lot of times mass shootings might happen on a Friday if it's at a work setting.
That's strange too, I guess. Yeah. Because
that's usually when people are let go or things of that nature. So, but he resigned on his own. In case our audience is wondering, if they haven't followed it, yes, he's Black.
Yeah, people probably wonder what's the race.
I have noticed after every mass shooting, everybody be like, well, at least what I be reading, and I be like, what color was he? What was he? He was Black.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time, I mean, it's good. They can take any race, as we've seen. But yeah, I mean, it's just the issue of just lives being lost for senseless things, and who knows what it is. So hopefully, they'll uncover what the reasons, why it happened. But I just feel like at this point, even if we figuring out why these things are happening, we're not moving to actually address these issues, whether it be mental health, whether it be deeper issues, whether it just be guns. I just feel like we're not having quick enough movement. They keep happening. There's not been enough change. But, we see all these changes with marijuana legalization happening pretty quickly, and abortion.
I was about to look how fast they did something. You say you care about lives. You say you are pro-life. You'll sign 50 million abortion bills within a couple of weeks, but we can't get anything related to guns. Anything.
Exactly. So it says right there what they prioritize and what matters to them, and clearly this gun stuff just is not on the priority list for these politicians, and it's sad. It's sad. Oh man. But I guess moving on to a sadder story. But it's not recent, but it has resurfaced. And we're talking about the documentary, the film series on Netflix called When They See Us, directed and produced and written by Ava DuVernay, which focuses on the Central Park 5 story. And so you had a chance to watch it too, right, Daph?
I did. I watched it. I binge watched it Friday. I think that's when it
Okay.
came out. Yeah.
I've been when I binge watched Saturday. And I was blown away by it. And I guess we could talk about and break down, some of the takeaways we got from it. And I went into it because I was already pretty familiar with the story. I've watched the Central Park 5 documentary. I assigned a couple readings to my students about, the story, and kind of what happened. And I was like, am I going to learn? How much more am I going to learn from this? And I learned, quite a bit more, especially about their personal lives, which is like the documentary stuff they talk about, but they don't go into too much detail. And some of the experiences they went to, just a little bit more detail, which I'm glad, because I didn't know it was going to be like a 4-parter. I thought it was going to be like a movie. So I'm glad they did it in that way, because it really allowed them to take their time and show all the different angles and what happened.
I agree. I would just say, starting at the beginning, it was tragic. The boys just did not know. And I think we've had like multiple lawyers come on here and say, don't talk. Just stop talking. And just to see how, if they just knew how to handle that. But I mean, but that also speaks to a important issue. Police should not be able to like interrogate, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. Like, we already know, like, there's enough research that says our brains aren't fully developed until we're like 24. They have no business in there with those young kids.
Yeah, that's so I think, and that's the thing. So the documentary seems to called Central Park 5 for anybody who wants to check it out. I think they seem to focus a little bit more on like the legal aspects of stuff. And so in there, they did a pretty good job at explaining like the workaround of how they were able to do that with the kids and the strategies they use, letting the parents know like, oh, it's no big deal. We just want to ask them questions. So essentially parents were giving them consent. When they didn't know, what the deal was. I know, Yusef's mom was the one that came out. I was like, no, what y'all doing? Get my child out of here. Like, y'all playing games. But the way they, she saw right through it, but many other parents, didn't fully get it. They thought they were just, hey, helping out their child. My child didn't do it. So of course you could talk to them and get yourself out of there. And once you get that consent, and allowed them to question them in that way. But it was that ticked me off too.
Yeah. I felt really bad for all of them, but like to see Corey Wise's story and to see what, he was not put in like a juvenile detention center. He went to traditional, general adult prison at like such a young age, and the abuse that he experienced. I feel like we saw his like prison story a little bit more than some of but it's just kind of like, and what was interesting to me is because I can remember the scene when I think it was with Yusef. He was with Yusef, and he went there just to be a support for his friend.
That was it. Oh my God!
It wasn't even on the original list. Yeah.
And then they got him in because they needed somebody to link all the stories, because as they showed in the film, the person came in, whoever the prosecutor was like, "Yo, we can't. This just everybody's stories are not connected. Like, how can we connect it?" That's what they use Corey for. But yeah, when I say that, like, it was funny because when I was watching episode 3 and they were kind of going through everyone's, kind of experiences of being in it and coming home, I was like, dang, I really wish, as I was watching, I was even telling Chris, I was like, I really wish they would have spent more time showing what it was like for them behind bars. So I think that's important too, because we know how they got there, but spending those years in, it's like, what did they fully experience? So, you got to see a little bit. We didn't get to really see it. And then once episode 4 came around, that was almost the entire episode just focused on Corey's experience. And I was like, wow. And, I watch a lot of films, tons of movies, but it's rare that I feel like the emotional impact that I felt with Corey's story. I just felt it was so sad. I'm like, yo, this 16, 17-year-old kid went through all of this and was innocent the whole time, getting beat up and getting bullied, like getting assaulted and asking for help, and just somebody to, he was scared. I mean, it was just like this, one of the saddest things I probably seen. And the fact that he got out, and what really stood out to me about Corey is the fact that even out of all of that, all those parole board hearings that he had, and pretty much they wanted him to admit his wrongdoing, and he could have started the parole process getting out earlier. Even though he was going through all that, he still held true to his convictions that he was innocent, and kept getting denied parole when he could have easily been like, just say, okay, I did it, so that way he can get out earlier. But he was like, nah, I'm not saying I'm guilty because I'm not, and just kept, staying inside. It was going to do his time day for day because he felt he was innocent.
Yeah. And he needed to do that for himself, because if he had like confessed again, I think he saw what happens when you give a false confession. And I know there are a lot of people like, oh my God, false confession, like not a thing. But, and we're going to link this. There have been a lot of researchers who have done like experiments, not related to like major crimes, but like, for instance, there was a study that I recently read where they, for college students, they accused them of like cheating and, let it escalate up to where they're meeting with deans. And, although they knew the people were innocent because this was an experiment, but in order to like avoid like the biggest penalties, a lot of the students confessed to cheating, even though they hadn't. So it's just kind of like false confessions happen. Like when you think like, if I just say this, then this lesser circumstance or this lesser consequence will happen and I can just move on with my life. People do it. And I'm going to link multiple examples of like experiments where they have done this to say like false confessions happen. So just because they said those things, it does not mean they actually did it.
Yeah. It happens all the time, especially with this particular population that was represented in the film. All of them were, coming from single parent homes, working class, weren't familiar with the system. And so the prosecutor took extreme advantage of that. And police officers took extreme advantage of that very, very vulnerable population because of their, they just didn't understand the law. And this is the whole thing of like, no matter where you are, try to. And the thing about it, if they would have said, I want my lawyer, right, that everything is dead in their tracks, even just that simple thing. I'm not speaking without a lawyer, and that all of those kids probably wouldn't have suffered those consequences.
Yeah. So we shared on our BHD Facebook page, which you should be liking so you can see it, advice from a lawyer. I know we did Teach for America together. She's a lawyer. She's the mother of a, young Black boy. And she gave some really good advice. She said, I cannot stress enough that the only thing you ever need to say to police during an investigation, 3 things. 1, am I free to go? And if they say no, you're under arrest. 2, I want an attorney. Not my mama, not my daddy, not my cousin. Unless those people are your attorney. That's not who you asked for. I want an attorney. And then after that, say nothing else. Because if you talk even a little bit after you say you want your attorney, there's case law that could be used to say, oh, you started talking after, so you waived your right to counsel. If you start talking after you say, I want my attorney. Don't try to convince them of anything. And she also cited case law where police are allowed to lie. They might even be encouraged to lie. Case law literally says police misconduct does not necessarily invalidate a confession. They can promise you food, visitors to go home, or lesser sentence, avoiding the death penalty. They can claim that there was an eyewitness, and it's all perfectly legal. It could be a lie. They don't have to make good on any of it. And you're going to be stuck with explaining the things you said to them in the wake of those lies at trial.
I mean, you seen that in the film. You know, they were just blatantly saying like, "Yo, this one said this, and this one said this about you. He said you did it," and it was all lies. But they were using it to get him to make these false confessions to get something, abusing their power. Right? I just like, you know, and also what surprised me was the fact that the dude who did it was in the same place as him. Like, what kind of like coincidence, the stars aligning, just working out in that way, you know, where he's literally talking to the dude, sees him in there and feels guilty and then admits to it all, you know.
And he knows all the details, his DNA matches, all of that. That was really a failure of police, though, because the man was actually, after that Central Park brutal beating and rape, he actually killed another woman.
Yeah. That was what got him in there. He like, they said in the film, he like gouged her eyes out and all this kind of stuff. And they said his what he did fit the MO of a Central Park jogger, but they didn't, for some reason, the prosecutor didn't want to look at it in that way.
That would have been inconvenient after you'd have already like plastered the face of 5 black boys and Trump talking about let's bring back the death penalty or whatever he was saying. That was too inconvenient for them.
Yep. And what I've been, I'm this evil woman, Linda Fairstein, who's a prosecutor.
New York Times best-selling murder mystery author. Oh my God.
Goodness! Like, how you ruin these lives and go on to live a wonderful, lucrative lifestyle, but
a New York.
She is under fire, which is rightfully so. They are boycotting her books. They're telling bookstores to take it off the shelf. She's canceled her. She's like deleted her social media profiles already. So she's definitely in a lot of trouble. Which is good, man. You shouldn't be making money off of this and what you did to these boys and taking their lives.
And having no remorse, still saying that they were connected with this guy that they didn't even know. Like, the fact that they would just wanted to double down and say, yeah, he was just the 6th one. I think that's what bothers me more. Like, admit to your mistake.
Yeah.
It's not like bless her heart, bless her soul, Trisha Melly, she didn't even remember. She didn't see, but like the police were so convinced that they have now convinced this woman that like it was absolutely those 5 guys plus the 6th one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She's still doubling down on it, which is, so sick and twisted. But, karma comes around. Like, she escaped this for all these years. And here it comes right back in your face. Where now you're going to have to deal with your consequences. No more book deals. Nobody, loving you as an author anymore. And your reputation for the rest of your life is going to be this woman who destroyed these young men's lives for no apparent reason. And I also get upset at like her, when you do this kind of stuff and you work at whether detectives, DA's office, it's a team. And there are people who knew when you're looking at this evidence like, yo, this is not right. This doesn't add up. This is clearly not, these are not the boys. They don't even know each other. But they still like, it's like, this is when we talk about like fighting from within. You need people to be like, nah, you are bugging. We are not moving forward with this. These are not the kids. But it's like everybody was still like hush hush and let her get her way and ruin these people's lives when they could have fought back. People are only looking at like Linda Fairstein, but another person
who really did not have to move forward with this was Elizabeth Lederer, who was the assistant DA who presented the case, who's now living her best life as a Columbia law professor. She still works in the DA office, I believe. And what's crazy is, so there was a 2013, I think, documentary by Ken Burns about the Central Park 5. And before then, she had the Central Park case in her Columbia law bio as if it was something that she was proud of. She didn't take it out of the bio until like people called her out, like, and they started a petition to try to get her fired from Columbia. It didn't work, but but she took that out of her bio because she was still proud of it, even after they had been vacated.
Dang, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, her being a law professor and now having to answer the students, you know, who are going to sing things like this and walk in your classroom already with this kind of, you know, skepticism and be ready to question you on stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so even in that profession, it's going to be a constant and consistent, you know, battle for her in the classroom.
You won't be able to... Students that started the petition, and I think an outside person did too.
Okay, and I'm sure even after seeing this, it's going to re-spark it like, yo, you was bugging. And now I don't even know if I can take you seriously as my instructor,
right?
As far as like your morality, you know what I mean?
Because she argued that hair found on one of the defendants matched the victim, which was a lie. It was not true. The hair was not linked to a victim. And also to see that they tried to hide that the DNA evidence didn't match any of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like you're not even that's what I'm saying. It's like there's a point of like you're not even doing your job. It's supposed to be like you're supposed to do it fairly. You're supposed to get them fairly. You know what I'm saying? And it's like now you're cutting corners just so you can prove that you're right. But you uphold the principles of the job, and that's the scary thing about some of these people in these positions. It's like it's about you, and it's not about the system and making sure that everybody has an equal and fair trial.
Mm-hmm. But it's like people try to make their careers off, and clearly a lot of careers were made from this case.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I think when crazy and bad things happen in the world, I think we as citizens, we're very reactionary now.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn how to be a little bit patient to where we care more about like justice and the right people getting locked away than like fast results.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to just lock this down fast to say they did something when if they didn't even have to wait. Because then that same guy, I don't know if he got arrested that night, but like he had got arrested before that August murder that he did.
Yeah.
Because there was I think he said he got 2 days before the Trisha Melly rape. He had raped another woman in the park 2 days before that. So it's just kind of like he had an MO. And the fact that they did not at all connect that, like, wow, there were two women.
It was almost 4, right?
Yeah, it was 4 total, I believe. Yeah. And
because they asked him, they saw the MO, they asked him about these other unsolved ones, and he admitted to it. Same thing, details, but they never asked him about the Central Park 5. And if they had asked, he would have told the truth. He admitted to all the other ones. Yeah, they did it. It's like when you don't want to know the answer, so you don't ask the question. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. But you know, the universe works in mysterious ways, and the very guy who they punished, tried to hide it from, was the very person to get them all free and right the wrongs of the system. Mm-hmm. They all were awarded some money, right? I think it was like 41 or 42 million. Yeah. Something like that. Which is still is like, 12 years of my life. You go 17, you come out when you're close to 30. Mm-hmm. You missed a lot in that time period. But they all, I like to see the end, they're all doing great things. And what's his name? With 10 kids or something like that. I don't know which one. Yusef. Yusef. Okay. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Married with 10. I'm like, jeez, man, 10 kids. Okay, but a lot of them living in Georgia too. I think most of them except Corey's still up in the city. All of them moved down south. I did notice that. Mm-hmm. Georgia. He has like an innocence project with a university. He has this like own wing of like a innocence project. Yeah, he does. He is started and helping people get out and stuff. Because if you think about it, they didn't get that money until just recently, within the last few years, although that was like vacated years ago. So it's like they still had to like get their, spend a lot of time getting their own lives together. Yeah. And shout out to the actor that played Corey. He was a beast, man. Yeah. He did such a good job. I mean, all of them were great, but he, to me, was like the standout for sure. But yeah, when they see us, check it out. It's a must watch on Netflix. Ava DuVernay continuously putting out superb work, extraordinary work. Can't say enough about what she's doing and the story she's telling. Because it's needed. And I like her because she doesn't care. You know what I mean? Like, if it upsets people, she wants to get the truth out and people's stories out in a way that, you know, most people haven't seen before or forget about. And she's not letting us forget these kind of stories. So I'm really appreciative of the work she's doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
I definitely
agree. When they see us, and I mean, and just a side note before we head out, you know, I find it ironic that Felicity Huffman was playing.
Yeah. Oh my God. A scammer.
And so just as a reminder, Felicity Huffman, y'all, is one that was involved in the college scandal, you know, paying for the kids to go to school and all that stuff. And so, you know, playing a corrupt investigator and doing corruption in her real life, it was just a funny irony.
Yeah, it was. At least Felicity Huffman is what do you call that? Remorseful. Probably more remorseful that she got caught, but at least she pled guilty and was like, I'm gonna take my little punishment.
Yeah, you gotta take it for sure. So that's all. That was all interesting. But check it out, y'all. It's definitely a must watch, like I said. And yeah, follow up on the stories. Check out the documentary too. Just call Central Park 5 if you can, because it definitely provides more of the legal context as far as how they got away with it from the inside and the police and their motivations and stuff a little bit more detailed than in the film. So check it out for sure. Anything else, Dav, on the docket?
No, I think this was, you know, pretty decent episode. I'm pretty sure, you know, Netflix all summer TV about to be on fire. So I have a feeling that a lot of our episodes this summer are going to end with us talking about some type of...
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, if you haven't yet, make sure you follow us on social media at BHD Podcast, and that's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can visit our website, www.blackandhighlydangerous.com, to keep up with all our latest content. Review and rate us on iTunes if you haven't yet. That really helps us out. And then other than that, you can email us at bhdpodcast@gmail.com if you have any ideas, topic ideas, guest ideas, interviews. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, let us know, and we'll get you on. And other than that, be sure to share us with your friends, share us with your family, share us with your enemies, and as always, continue to be the oppressor's worst fear.
If you're interested in continuing this and other conversations, visit our website, blackandhighlydangerous.com, to subscribe to our email list, suggest topics, and participate in our discussion forums.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BHD Podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe and rate our podcast on your favorite platform. And as always, continue to be the oppressor's worst fear.